back. We are here with Ohio Representative and 2020 presidential candidate Tim Ryan.
Hello, good morning.
Hi,
good morning.
You're having quite a morning, huh?
Our man,
Just one of those.
Listen, we're all about transparency here. Our man has a flight to catch at 12:10, so we're going to keep
And my phone's dying.
And-
so I got to get a car.
And we
my
gotta
phone's
get
at
charged.
3%. I don't even know where my phone is right now.
Yeah.
Someone out in the
Somebody out there is going to
hinterland
charge it. But that
has
means
my
we got to
phone.
hit these
Yeah.
questions
Let's
quick.
go.
So let's
Bring
talk about it.
Bring
Mueller report this morning. Any feelings? How are you feeling about it? Are you looking forward to seeing the unredacted Mueller report?
Yeah, you can't wait to see it.
What about the redacted Mueller report?
I hope it's not too redacted. We need a lot of transparency, but hopefully we can then move on. I want to get back to talking about jobs, the economy, wages, healthcare, the anxiety that's out in our society today. We got to focus on that. That's the real issue.
If you were to become president and there was another situation like this, would you be open to all reports, from any special counsel, always being unredacted, released to the public?
It should all be unredacted. It should be completely transparent, but for protecting the names of sources that you could potentially put their lives in jeopardy. I think that would be the only exception I would have.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Earlier this morning, we were talking to Lucy Flores, of course, who was spoken about her interactions with Joe Biden and his inappropriate touching. Do you think his history of inappropriately touching people should disqualify Biden from running for president?
I think that's between him and the voters, quite frankly. He obviously has his style that seemed like it crossed the line on a few people. They spoke up. I'm glad we're in a position where women feel heard, they listened to and heard. I think that's a big step in the right direction, but ultimately that's between the vice president and the voters.
Okay. Well, to that point, I got to tell you, a lot of white guys are running for president.
Sure, really?
I don't know if you've heard.
No, I have not.
How are you different than any of the rest of them?
I've understand and have a plan dealing with the enormous amounts of anxiety and pressure and anxiousness that's in our society today, whether it's the economic anxiety that's out there, anxiety around health, wellness, criminal justice. We got big plans for the country, but I understand what people are going through. I've been in a working class district my whole life. And I think the first thing we have to do is really understand how difficult it is right now. People are just surviving. And I think they want a president who's going to put an agenda forth that allows us to thrive, thriving communities, have our kids thrive, and allow us to thrive economically in the United States. And I have those plans, and I can't wait to continue to talk about them.
Yeah, speaking of your district, speaking of Ohio, a very controversial anti-abortion law has just gone into effect.
Yeah.
Do you think that it will be upheld with the Supreme Court the way it is now?
I have no idea, but, this is what happens when we keep losing elections. Then we can't get anybody on the Supreme Court that protects a woman's right to choose. Ohio's been nasty about this over the last several years. One of the worst states in the union when it comes to women's health. And, I'm worried. I'm worried that the Supreme Court is so conservative on some of these issues. I really am.
That laws like this might be upheld. Let me ask you, you were at one point in your career, though, anti-abortion. And some people have said that you switched as you sought higher office. You're now seeking the highest office in the land.
I can't imagine anyone would be that cynical.
What is that? Is that what you say? That you don't? Then what changed your mind? If it wasn't, that,
it's a great question, and I totally understand, and I appreciate people asking it and asking the hard questions. I don't really think it's a hard question. Experience. I came in as a Catholic school kid from Northeast Ohio who didn't think a whole lot about the issue and went into Congress pro-life. And as I opened up my mind and I started meeting women who actually were in these really difficult circumstances over the course of my 17 years in Congress, my opinion changed that there should not be anyone from the federal government in between a woman and her doctor, period, end of story.
Well, you're not talking, but you said like when you were in Congress, you started speaking to women who had these experiences, but I mean, surely you were speaking to women who had these experiences before.
Not really. No. I mean, no, not really. I mean, it wasn't an issue that I dealt with. It wasn't an issue I talked about a lot. And then I got into Congress and I started working on an issue with Rosa DeLauro. I was pro-life, she was pro-choice, really on how to get contraception out to women. And then I started meeting women, and I started working very closely with NARAL. And you'll see leaders in NARAL kind of watched, and they were very open-hearted to me, explaining to me about, how these things happened and what was really happening on the ground. So it was one of those things, you know, you live and you learn and you experience, and I hope at that point you have the courage to change.
We appreciate growth here for sure.
Sure. Listen, we're obviously a Twitter show. So and if you didn't know, we're not on Facebook. So I was looking at both of your Twitter accounts, because you have your official Twitter account and then your personal Twitter account. And I got to tell you, friend, they are boring.
Yes.
They are boring.
You are not the first person to say that.
Okay, well, when are you going to start listening to this? Why are they so boring? What's wrong with
like
you?
campaign manager mode over here.
Do you not have dogs you can tweet about or something?
Oh,
I hear people love tweeting about their dogs.
Man, I got my dog.
That's such a good answer.
Come on.
He's like, you want to see the dogs? You got to go on Instagram. Do you think you'll loosen it up just like a little bit?
Getting a little slow.
Do you think? Wow! Wow! Dude, what about just like an avatar update or something? We can take a
you've
photo.
got to change your avatar.
Okay.
You've got to change.
Can we do
I'm
that?
going to get advice. This is open source
we're
campaigning.
very practical.
Open source campaigning. New power, baby.
There is a lot of focus on policy on your Twitter feed. It is dry, but there is a lot of
boring.
That's Variety spoke with Cardi B about your policies. We're going to take a look real quick. You're very excited about this. Let's take a look.
Where's Cardi?
As a matter of fact, I was watching the news and I saw like this guy named Tim Ryan, and his speech was very convincing to me. He really wants to give the United States free health care, so that's a big plus. We need health care. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I didn't hear that. Can you play that again?
No, see, sir, I heard you have a plan to catch, so we can't play it again. But no, look, it's really nice to see that your policies are out there, and of course, healthcare is one of the most, if not the most important issues out there right now. Let me ask you, if you're elected president, which cabinet position will you give Cardi B?
Oh, I mean, I don't think there's any question about it, but Secretary of Commerce. We need her. We need her out there developing business and enterprise.
That's a good answer. I'm not going to complain.
Did you really say that, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see her?
I was saying press
when she did the Instagram thing, when she was all about like all the economics, she's amazing.
Cuts through.
She knows money.
She cuts through.
I did want to pass along a question from one of our Twitter viewers. Nichelle said to ask you about voter suppression, because she feels it's usually only candidates of color who are asked about it. So what are you doing to fight voter suppression?
Well, we passed this first initiative in Congress, H.R. 1, so I was very supportive of that. I think we need to keep going down this road. In Ohio, we've been dealing with this for a long time, going back to like the Bush-Kerry race, where there is a systematic attempt to suppress people of color and students. And I'm adamantly against it, and we're going to make sure that we're doing everything we need to do through the Attorney General and everything else to make sure that votes aren't being suppressed in the United States. It's pretty fundamental.
It's a long road ahead, but Representative Ryan, I know you got that plane to catch. Thank you so much.
Now I'm having fun. I'm like,
I'll
get the next one.
That's how we get the
Thank you very much, guys.
Appreciate it. A few more dogs on the Twitter timeline. Up next, we're reading more of your tweets. Don't go away.
I want a better avatar from you. I want some personality. I want some color.